All right, countdown has been given. We are about to get underway with match number 4 of our quintuple header here on Smash Sunday at GG Speedruns. Make sure you're following this channel if you aren't, and feel free to follow all these other runners too. They're pretty good people. Here we go. We've got the wrong player on the wrong side. Akerasi, player 1. AriesFireTiger, player 2. Let's go.
I respect people that go with the second player. I like it. Sometimes you got to come in from the right.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no real strategical advantage either way. The main reason that I personally play player 2 is simply because I do some co-op runs with Brysolf, and I'm player 2 in those, and I don't want to ruin my muscle memory.
It's what you're used to. Why would you go against it?
Exactly. 40 seconds for Aries and to collect power-ups. 43 for Akerasi. Akerasi, no stranger to these twin-stick shooters. Best Bang.io player planet on the planet. Bang.io. It's a game that's kind of like Smash TV, but kind of not. He's really good at it. You should check it out. Anyway, first drop Razor Shield for AriesFireTiger. Not a bad one. A foot for Akerasi, and he's just going to ignore that, looking for something better. Spreader for Aries, and Akerasi just working with the pea shooter, patiently awaiting either Rocket's Razor Shield or Orb. He is going to grab this invulnerability, though.
Yeah, I would have gone for the previous one he was ignoring, because since it was that close to the door, he could have camped there, forced an earlier drop faster, and then also just pot shot at things coming towards him and slowly move towards the middle.
Yeah, right you are, Drummy. Opportunity missed for sure, and with slow cleanup, it's going to be about a $1.37 for Akerasi going in to eat my shrapnel. So early advantage for Aries here. Aries, I think, is one of the players that in this tournament tends to outperform their seed every year. One of those sneaky good players, and as soon as I say that, unfortunate ord drop, but does have rockets to at least keep the room going. Takes a bat to the face. Maybe I should stop giving people praise. It never seems to work out too well for them.
You can praise me. It's okay. I can take it. I can take the hit.
I like you, Drummy. You're a good human being.
You know, if
You're
memory serves, in one of my previous tournaments, I lost to Aries, so I know that the dude can play.
Yeah, Aries getting some pretty good firing with this spreader here. Being aggressive, staying a little bit out of the middle, which is generally the way you want to play a spreader, especially when you don't have an orb. Try to make those extra shots from the weapon count for something instead of just dinging off the wall. But that said, we're both into Total Carnage, and while there have been some orbs to show up, neither of our racers has kept it so far. So we're scrambling a bit here in Total Carnage. These scramble races are always fun to watch, where you don't have the orb and you just kind of have to improvise your way through everything.
I don't know if I would have gone with the grenades there.
Well, if you're trying to force the next drop to show up faster, sometimes you just have to pick up everything in sight. Ooh, Akerasi gets tagged by the shrapnel. Like we said, it's always hard to see those against the similarly colored backdrop in the arena. Rockets now for Akerasi, but Aries is onto the bonus room at about a 325.
It's one of the primary reasons I wound up swapping over to emulated, is that my CRT is so dark, it is just harder for me to see the shrapnel shots.
I think that out of the reasons I've seen to play, heard rather, to play emulator over console, that's probably one of the more legitimate ones there. Akerasi had an orb and lost it right away. You always hate it when that happens. The orb shows up, but it's in a place where you can't just grab it right away. Sometimes you have to be a little bit patient to pick up that orb if it's in a dangerous spot. Aries comfortably in control of this race, but not the room. No orb, not seeing a whole lot of rockets. Gunners are down, though, just kind of scrambling and hoping for the game to give them something, anything to get things going here. There's an orb now for Aries. That will help for sure. Aries able to get into the middle and controlling it fairly admirably now. Has to dance around shrapnel, and as a result, one of the swarmers is going to pick away the orb. Akerasi pinned down in the corner. There's an orb, but gets tagged by cannon fire. Is he going to make it? No, not quite.
Yeah, the game was just rude right there. Put it in such a bad spot.
Yeah, it's in a spot where you both die because you see where it is and you're trying to get there, and then you respawn and it's too far away to pick it up. These rockets will help Akerasi, but it's a pretty substantial lead right now for Ares. Ares into the Mutoid room at about a 503, and Akerasi still pounding away at tank trouble here. There's some rockets that will help. Ares tries to walk around Mutoid Man and gets gunned down, but still able to pick up the lobber, able to start putting in some damage on the boss here. Empty drop is a key, but going to pick it up. All good play because you need more weapons to show up against Mutoid Man. Akerasi, meanwhile, pinned in the corner in tank trouble, trying desperately to get something, anything going here, and gets gunned down.
Well, steady diet of lobbers is just going to keep pushing this difference further and further for Ares.
Yeah, but it's only about a form and a half, despite the huge difference in coming into the room there. Ares gonna rock lobber to lobber, second arm goes down. Good lobber fire here, landing the sweet spot. A little too close there, but is able to pick up a refill and reorient themselves. Lobber for Akerasi, but has some ground to make up here. 3 forms to none advantage. Akerasi gets taken down by cannon fire. Those cannons are just such a troll in this boss fight from time to time. Back-to-back invulns on both sides. Weapons are not flowing. There's a spreader for Ares with invuln on. Is able to at least get a form out of it. No, a form and change. Final form for AriesFireTiger. Akerasi finally gets that first arm to pop.
Ooh, trying to go for the grenades, and that didn't work.
Yeah, Akerasi is just going to let himself be run over, hoping for a spreader, but it's just a lobber here. This game, definitely Ares to lose, but does get run over. Is going to get this lobber. Will this be enough to finish off? If not, that spreader should be. And there it is. Ares is going to take game number 1 here. Maybe a bit of a disappointing show by both players here in game number 1, but that's why we play 5. We'll see what happens going forward here. It's going to be a 7-16 for Ares. Akerasi still going, only has 2 arms down here. Mutoid just not cooperating at all compared to what we've seen in our first 3 matches today, Drummy. So many sub-6s there.
Yeah, and the keys definitely not going to help there. Ooh,
They unfortunately are not something that you can stab into someone and unlock their deaths.
just going to let that one hang. Okay. And he's
Well,
got this.
Akerasi at least getting some weapons now, even though they're not quality weapons. There's a spreader. Akerasi gonna run into the shrapnel on purpose. Should be able to get this and does. So Akerasi should be on to final.
Oh.
No, the sabotage! Lobber sabotage! Come on, the race is over, game. We don't need this insult to the injury.
See, Mutoid's just rude. That's all there is to it. George Costanza does not care about your mental health.
Yes, and Mutoid is being the spreader Nazi. No spreader for you. All right, Akerasi going to finish this off with some rockets here. Hopefully this will do it, because there's no weapon on the field. No, not quite enough. Going to need another weapon. Is Akerasi here? There's the...
And he's going to camp it.
Mutoid, what are you doing? The race is over. Just let him pick it up. Come on. Jeez. What a troll. What an absolute troll.
Dude's a jerk.
I mean, it's a huge discrepancy in the winning times, but let's be honest, Drummy, neither racer really got any good drops, either in Mutoid or the arena. We haven't seen the best either of them can perform. It's a 1-0 lead for Ares, but we're going to see some better action coming up. I hope.
Now, I will say,
Come on, game. Give us some drops.
Akerasi had the setup and then got the lobbers on the feet. I mean, what are you supposed to do? And he's next to a wall, so all of his shots are completely whiffing anyways. Game just did not want him to do anything that time, and that sucks. I mean, that's all you can do is, well, thanks for that game. I'm gonna keep moving.
Yeah, pretty much. Just forget about that game one. I mean, someone won it, someone had to, but let's move on to the remainder of the match here, and I'm sure we're gonna see some better stuff here. Speaking of better stuff, look at that prize. Silver! Blocks
Woo.
of silver. I don't think I've ever actually seen that prize in game, but oh my, that is definitely a big prize. Silver is worth its weight in silver.
I was hoping you were going to say bronze.
That would have been a double subversion, but sadly, I'm just not that clever.
I think you're clever. Well, I think everyone's clever. When you're coming from my starting point. Flanders.
Well, I would come from your starting point, but unfortunately, we have a set starting point here, and that is when the evil MC counts in our racers to go, go, go!
Plus, you'd have to start digging.
And I don't have a shovel.
Arena 1! It is funny to think it's 104 guys. You don't really think about that, do you?
No, you really don't in the moment because you're too busy just going, oh, there's a guy, I'm going to shoot it. Oh, there's a guy, I'm going to shoot it. But how many other games do you, in the first 40 seconds, make 100 plus kills? I can't think of any.
I'm sure they're out there, but they probably also involve, like, blowing up a planet or something.
Yeah, but that's just, there's a certain element of personality or closeness that's just missing there. It's less satisfying that way.
I was going to say, if you think these guys have personality, I mean...
Well, they did at one point, but then they chose to commit crimes and spend the rest of their lives holding a small baseball bat and getting reduced to giblets.
I was going to
All
say...
right, collect power-ups. It's going to be Rockets versus Rockets. Akerasi a little behind after the first room, but we love to see Rockets early on. Aries, you can see the difference in experience a little bit between there. Aries a little more calculated with the Rockets, whereas Akerasi just basically holding the fire key and trying to make it work as much as possible there.
So you're telling me that having a baseball bat is not a personality?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, how many professional sports interviews have you seen? Those guys are boring.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, for every, 300 people that are boring, you have, one Harper that tells someone that they asked a clown question. So, there's some exceptions to the rules.
My personal favorite is how most sports guys, when they're doing interviews, they're always going to talk like this. It doesn't matter how jazzed they are about anything. I really want to go to Disney World and have a lot of fun. How do you talk like that?
I don't know, but I mean, I'm really jazzed that both of our racers have orbs here inside of Eat My Shrapnel, and oh look, Aries is going to be the first one out at a 2:18, but not to be outdone Akerasi, only 3 seconds behind at a 2:21. Yeah, no one wants to listen to that. Let's have some fun, Drummy.
Absolutely.
Ooh, there's the Razor Shield for Akerasi. Let's go. Can we make it Vitamin R with some rockets too? Spreader into spreader into spreader for AriesFireTiger.
There's the Rockets. You did call it. I'll be darned.
Yeah, absolutely. Vitamin R flowing for Akerasi here. Much closer game than last time around. We knew we hadn't seen the best from either of these players so far.
It was just a matter of getting that first round off the books. We'll just forget it happened. Except for Aries.
On the scoreboard, we can't forget it happened. But yeah. Otherwise, yeah, we'll call it a warm-up. Rockets now for Aries. Getting a little dicey with the movement there, but was able to keep the orb. More rockets for Akerasi and good firing lanes. Some bonus rockets for Aries to start off the next room. Akerasi gains a couple seconds back. We're pretty much even. Drummy, you know what time it is.
Oh, Taco Bell, product placement, Taco Bell.
Mi quiero quesadilla con los alimentos con monster and que sopas.
Yes. What?
Hey, I know 50 words in Spanish and I got to say 20 of them right there. Let me enjoy
Speed.
the moment. Those early rockets for Ares, gotta love it. Get rid of the gunners. Akerasi pushed into the corner despite having the orb. That can happen with the aggressive fire of the gunners. So Akerasi gonna have to fight his way back to the middle and or get a good drop to force the issue. Ares did lose the orb and their life. So now playing without an orb. Very aggressive with the invulnerability, though. That's how you have to play it. Maybe a little too aggressive there as gets run over by a tank. But hey, you get another invulnerability as Akerasi unfortunately loses the orb, but gets some rockets.
It was a really good bat dodge from Ares there.
I like this firing from Akerasi. Really patient on the rockets, but maybe just a little too patient as that one swarmer snuck in and bat to the head, bat to the head. But yeah, look at this. This is night and day compared to that first race there. Aries in at about 4:49 and Akerasi in at about 4:52. Maybe not times that are going to set the world on fire compared to some of the top runners, but we at least have ourselves a legitimate race this time, Crummy.
Which is always good to see. Now it's just all down to drops and execution, and a spreader for Ares
A
on
spready for Aries on the
the
player
right
2
side.
side.
Yep.
That's exactly what you wanted. A bit out of the way compared to the door and Mutoid, but is able to still get 2 arms worth of damage out of it. Can't pick up the replacement weapon. Akerasi pounding away with some rockets here, has grenades to fill up on and will do so. Lobbers for Ares and a refill and will do so. More grenades for Akerasi. Akerasi needs a spreader to catch up here, but no, not particularly outstanding weapons on either side. Chest pops for Ares, so still 2 forms ahead. Lobbers now for Akerasi. Bit of a tough grab and Mutoid. The troll parks on it as the head pops for Ares, still pounding away with grenades. Invulnerability versus key, so double empty drop. We've got about a 2.5 form difference. Akerasi gonna pick up the first weapon, those rockets. Mutoid polite enough to move off of the lobber for Ares, but Ares pinned in a bad spot is able to dodge the shrapnel. Well played. Final form for Ares and second arm pop for Akerasi.
Akerasi's gonna. I don't know if the. Is it possible?
Well, if the drops dry up, but otherwise it's looking pretty good for Ares. That was an empty drop. Are these lobbers going to be enough? And yes, they are. So Ares is going to take game number 2 as well, though it was a much closer and much better played game from both runners here. Ares just getting a few more lobbers against Mutoid, ultimately being the difference in this one. Spreaders really didn't play too much of a part. It was all about lobber fire, and that's where Ares seems to have Akerasi beat. Akerasi, you can see, knows where the good spot is, but electing to more use ordinal fire rather than diagonal fire, and that's the sign of being really comfortable with Mutoid, is whenever you're to play diagonal fire with those lobbers and consistently hit the sweet spot.
Yeah, maximizing whatever damages you're able to output on the guy is key. You cannot guarantee that you're going to be getting the spreaders, so you have to work with what the game is going to give you. And in that case, Ares simply just got the lobbers landing in the sweet spot all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good lobber fire from Ares is the story for game number 2 here. Otherwise, the arena was pretty much even on both ends here, and even though it may seem like there's a huge difference in time here at the end, that's just Mutoid being Mutoid. He knows the race is over, so he's going to troll Akerasi for the amusement of, let's be honest, no one. But there it is. It's going to be another time, a little over 8 minutes for Akerasi, and that's just Mutoid being Mutoid in a garbage time situation. Race not over yet, though. Ares with a commanding 2-0 lead. Could seal this in the next one. Get your predictions in the chat room. Is this going to be a 3-0 sweep, or can Akerasi get just a little bit of help in that Mutoid room to get back into the race?
Jack, I think you're closer. You might have to go get the donuts.
Yeah, but I don't wanna. I'm lazy.
What are you, me?
No, I figured it out. Bryself is the closest to Tim Hortons out of all of us right now.
Yeah, but he also left, which means that's probably just where he is, actually. Ooh, send him a text.
Yeah, he went to Timmy's. Let's just shoot him a text and tell him to bring back, like 8,000 donuts for everyone. Not just me and you and Bry, but everyone watching and playing here on Smash Sunday. Looks like we're ready for Game 4. I'm going to give them the countdown. Houston, we have liftoff in.
Butter.
Butter chicken?
Ooh, with naan.
Oh, obviously. Oh no, even better. Let's get us a nice lamb korma medium with a naan. That sounds amazing.
I mean, as long as we get to start with the bread, I'm a big fan of the non-starter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man, them Indian, I swear they make the best food. I'm so glad that we live in a modern era where all of our different cultures are able to mingle and we can all taste each other's delicious foods. Because as much as I prefer, Indian food over all kinds of other foods, I gotta say, all these people who aren't, boring North Americans like us, they know how to cook. It's good stuff.
It's true. I love to take other cultures' foods and cram it in my pie hole.
Oh yeah, a nice Thai pad would be really nice right now too. Mmm. Hey, here we are, collect power-ups, game number 4, looking for that first orb drop or anything of substance. It's an invuln and an invuln, but now it's a razor shield and a razor shield. Drop's not playing favorites. Ooh, bad luck from Akerasi. You hate seeing that. You pick up a razor shield, but one of those swarmers just sneaks inside and ruins your fun. It's happened to all of us. It's the worst feeling in the world. As the rich are getting richer over on Ares' side, has the orb, had a razor shield, has some spreader to start the room here, and Akerasi still working in collect power-ups and gets shrapnelled. Oof. Huge early advantage here for AriesFireTiger.
Well,
Is Drummy still alive? I have not heard Drummy speak in a bit. Maybe I'm talking too much. Maybe Drummy's not talking enough. I don't know. Are you still here, Drummy?
well, it was just, you had it well covered. That knows pet my cat.
Ah, yes, the kitties. A very valid excuse. We
Kind of forgot.
can't hold that against you.
I kind of forgot push to talk was the issue. So, I need my handbag.
Yes. I understand. Ares already into total carnage. Rockets into more rockets. Akerasi, meanwhile, struggling to get through Eat My Shrapnel here. Still needs to see an orb. Had 4 shrapnels on the screen multiple times and took a death. Huge lead here for Ares in the early goings of Game 3.
Yeah, he lost the orb, and then realizing that the rockets were getting low, wisely jumped on grabbing that spreader to try and force the next drop, which turns out more rockets. Hey, why not?
Yeah. As long as you're getting good weapons, losing the orb, not necessarily the worst thing, but you're also, leaving your fate in the cruel hands of RNGesus. Really need to get an orb soon enough so that you know that you have the firepower to keep things going without those rockets. And though it took a couple of drops, Ares does have a replacement orb, and we'll be into the bonus room at about a 312.
I'd buy that for $1.
Rockets now for Akerasi, still looking for that exclusive orb, but Rockets will keep it going, and Akerasi, despite his lower seed in the tournament, definitely one of the better Rocket users that I think that I've seen so far. Definitely his biggest strength. If he can polish up some of the other areas of his games, he'll be a true contender.
Oh, and the shrapnel explodes.
Yeah, never like to see that. That's just a 4-second time penalty. Ares going to work with the orb, has one of the... Ooh, dangerous stuff there. Uses the orb to block a piece of shrapnel. Whether or not it was intentional, none can say, but I'm sure if you'll ask him, Ares will say, oh yeah, I totally did that on purpose, because who wouldn't? It looks so cool every time you do it. Orb unfortunately gone now, but the rockets are flowing. That'll keep things afloat for the time being. Akerasi now entering tank trouble, comfortably behind, but will the drops favor Akerasi? Definitely an opportunity to catch up at least a little bit here, Drummy.
Yeah, I mean, the drops have not been stellar on Aries' side here, so he's been dancing every which way but loose. And yeah, it's right now he's... Oh, well, I said dancing. Sometimes
Yeah, Ares basically had one rocket drop, and that's it. Akerasi's already had an orb, a rocket, and a razor shield. Is still going to be behind Ares due to how far ahead Ares was initially, but that lead is going to dwindle. So a little bit of help from Mutoid, and we might be seeing a game 4 here. Let's see.
Ooh, on the
And it's a
correct
player
side.
2 spreader immediately. Ares getting the God drop, should be able to pop one arm and possibly more. Has to pull back because of the invulnerability wearing off, but does at least get one arm down. Akerasi into Mutoid Man with an orb at about a 515. See if there's a ball buster opportunity presents itself. Ares just chaining an empty drop now. Invuln to invuln. There's a spreader. Won't be able to do a whole lot with it outside of a good manual. Second arm down for Ares. His patience gives him an invuln with a lot of spreader left. That head should be gone. We at least have a glitchtoid, and there's the head gone. 4-4 lead for Ares in the blink of an eye. And Akerasi goes down, and I'm sorry to say, Drummy, but you have to think that that's all she wrote here for match number 4 on the day.
Yeah, that's final form on Aries' side. It's functionally not really possible to... You'd have to see no drops for about a minute straight.
You'd need Cosmic Rays or something like that. Ares is going to take this thing down with a... It's going to be a pretty respectable 625 or so. That's a pretty solid time.
And he's going to exit right out the door that he came in from. Well, he won some toasters. Ooh, and now he's got gold. Look at that. We're back to luggage. Oh, Akerasi goes for the death to try and grab the spreader, and Mutoid immediately camps it. Of course he does. You hate to see it. Now he just needs weapons, which don't seem to want to appear. It appeared under him, didn't it? He did. I was going to say, I wonder if Akerasi realized he picked up a weapon there. He did. He had grenades, and there's more grenades. So just trying to finish him off at this point. I mean, at this point, take whatever you can. Just keep forcing whatever you can at this. Just hope for lobbers. I mean, last-ditch chance really for spreaders to try and get the damage and transitional damage, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. He's just going to have to keep using all the rockets he wished he'd gotten earlier in the run. Mutoid, why you do this? There's the spreader. So he takes the death. He's going to get as much transfer damage as he can on this one. This should pretty much nearly kill him. Takes the rockets for the long distance, for the safety, for the pot shotting, and there he's dead. Yeah, it was a lot of transfer damage. And an 813. Mutoid being a butt certainly didn't help during some of that. An item appears under his feet. Not what you want to see. But good games to Ares, who took that one. We got one more coming up, though.